Tesla has just wrapped up an utterly epic Q2 2024 earnings call. Loads of bombshells and juicy details, way more than I was expecting. First, we're going to look at some highlights from the actual earnings report itself, then recap the call and some of the stunning statements and disclosures that were made regarding current and future products, the 4680 cell, FSD licensing, Robotaxis, rollout, predictions on the first Robotaxi fair. I mean, holy crap, guys. This call more than delivered the goods. Few highlights from Tesla's Q2 2024 update. $600 million of costs relating to restructuring, layoffs, and other changes. Despite that, still a GAAP operating income of $1.6 billion. Operating cash flow, $3.6 billion in the quarter. And Tesla's cash and investments now stands at over $30 billion. $30.7 billion to be exact. Decent war chest. On FSD, progress continued for our AI initiatives. In Q2, we reduced the price of FSD supervised in North America and launched free trials to everyone with the necessary hardware. And now, check this out. These programs have demonstrated success and are laying the foundation for more meaningful FSD monetization. We expect to see an increase in FSD attach rates for our fleet as the capability improves and we increase awareness of the convenience and safety it offers to users. As I've said in the past, FSD is the big money printer. Forget hardware sales on the vehicles. It's the software that's going to transform Tesla's business financially. A couple of charts here telling the AI story. Cumulative miles driven with FSD supervised in the billions. In blue, FSD miles. And in red, FSD V12. And very approximately, just for comparison's sake, that's stacked the red on top there. Easily 2/3, approaching 3/4 as many miles driven on FSD in almost no time at all. And remember, miles equals data equals better capabilities. And this Tesla AI training capacity ramp through to the end of the year. This is in H100 equivalent GPUs. Existing capacity in the solid blue line and future planned capacity in the dotted line. Basically going vertical. Tesla's telling us what's around the corner. I hope we're paying attention. And this may be new. Non-automotive gross profit. How long has this been in the Tesla earnings report? You can see going all the way back to Q3 2017, Tesla's non-automotive gross profit, negative, not enormously so, but clearly there was no non-automotive gross profit until Q3 2022. And we're seeing a trend, a very impressive, strong trend, now approaching $1 billion for the quarter in non-automotive gross profit. This is really sneaking up on us. And energy storage deployments in gigawatt hours. I am definitely a fan of this trend. Here we're looking at global battery electric vehicle market share, which is the 12 months trailing data. The world excluding China, Tesla's market share, a very, very, very tiny increase in the 12 months excluding China, but the rest of the globe, and a meaningful increase over the last 12 months in China. And obviously the trend over time is going from almost zero to global market share now approaching 12%. Just imagine what happens when electric vehicles are not roughly 1/10 of the global market, but 100%. If Tesla were to maintain this kind of shares, this is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Now let's read the entire description under product. Plans for new vehicles, including more affordable models, remain on track for start of production in the first half of 2025. Just to be clear, I'm currently speaking to you in the second half of 2024. So that's one more half from now. These vehicles will utilize aspects of the next generation platform as well as aspects of our current platforms and will be able to be produced on the same manufacturing lines as our current vehicle lineup, which means Tesla will not have to spend shit. No new factories, just a bit of rejigging, and they're off to the races. This approach will result in achieving less cost reduction than previously expected, but enables us to prudently grow our vehicle volumes in more capex efficient manner during uncertain times. This should help us fully utilize our current expected maximum capacity of close to 3 million vehicles, enabling more than 50% growth over 2023 production before investing in new manufacturing lines. Our purpose-built Robotaxi product will continue to pursue a revolutionary unboxed manufacturing strategy. The official Tesla X account shared some updates too. Got a funny feeling these are much more likely to be things that matter over the long term as opposed to the short-term noise. Let's find out. We continue to expand our vehicle lineup globally with new trims of Model 3 and Y, as well as new S3, X and Y paint options. Vehicle refresh Model 3 ramp continued successfully. We also continue to qualify more Model 3 trims for the Inflation Reduction Act tax credit. Cybertruck production more than tripled sequentially, remaining on track for profitability by the end of 2024. Now that'll fucking stun me. I mean, they've said it's likely to happen, so it's probably going to happen. But holy shit, dude. I expected Cybertruck would be a negative drag on profitability for some time. It's a complicated thing. Never been done before. Nothing even close to this, so that'd be pretty impressive. Ongoing preparations of Semi-Factory on track for production to start by end of next year. Giga Berlin began producing right-hand drive vehicles and delivered its first units to the United Kingdom. AI and hardware. Now we get to the juicy stuff. Most notably, we rolled out a version of FSD Supervised that primarily relies on eye tracking software to monitor driver attentiveness. Other key focus areas include continued reduction of interventions while improving driver comfort. Tesla Optimus is performing its first task handling batteries in one of our factories. Rest in peace, the United Auto Workers Union a few years from now. Going to be kind of ironic when the organisation that encourages members to strike and protest and demand impossibly high compensation increases ultimately ends up seeing its employees get fired one by one and replaced by Tesla robots at Tesla's so-called competition. The south extension of Giga Texas is nearing completion, and as we know, it will house their largest cluster of H100s yet onto vehicle and other software. Our vehicles continue to improve long after they were delivered via free over-the-air software updates. Our spring release included an immersive full-screen vehicle controls view in park and various other UI improvements. A native Audible app, massive. At least if you're a nerd like me, I listen to fuck tons of Audible books. Hands-free trunk for vehicles with the necessary hardware and more. Battery, powertrain, and manufacturing. In Q2, we produced 50% more 4680 cells versus Q1. Holy fuck, dude. That is massive. 4680 ramp has taken time, but a 50% quarter-over-quarter increase this is batshit insane. And continue to see cost improvements. Started validation of vehicle testing for our first prototype Cybertruck with in-house dry cathode 4680 cells in July, a major cost reduction milestone once ramped. Now onto Tesla Energy. Megapack and Powerwall achieved record deployment in Q2, 9.4 gigawatt hours of total storage deployments. Powerwall 3 is now available in UK, Canada, and Germany, in addition to the US. All right, hold on to your panties, folks. Like I said before, this is a massive call. Loads of juicy details and information that I wasn't expecting to hear. Just to be clear, these are my real-time notes. The quotes are not verbatim. There's probably a fuckload of typos, but who cares? From Elon's opening remarks, he pointed out that Tesla has seen a large adoption acceleration in electric vehicles, but they're also experiencing somewhat of a hangover as their so-called competition heavily discounts their EV turds. Makes sense. Q2 saw record revenue for Tesla and record energy profits. This despite huge AI investment, Musk confirming that a more affordable model is on track for production to begin in the first half of 2024. Also noting that FSD 12.5 is a step change improvement with 5 times the parameters of 12.4. And finally, we'll merge highway, which is very old, and city stacks. Previously, for those who don't know, these were 2 entirely separate stacks of code. This is what we want to see. A merger. Truly generalized. We now have a new date for the Robotaxi unveil, 10/10. The reason for the delay? Musk wanted to make important changes to improve the design and bombshell alert. Quote, we will also show off a couple of other things. A couple. So that means more than one. Meaning we're going to see a Robotaxi and at least 2 other things. Leave your speculation as to what we might see in the comments. I've kind of already speculated out loud in previous videos on what I think we'll be seeing. Now, Optimus version 1 for Tesla will enter production next year. And Musk says he expects Tesla to have several thousand Optimus robots doing useful labor in Tesla factories by the end of next year. Optimus is sneaking up on us faster than anyone would have expected. Whether or not Tesla meets these audacious goals is yet to be seen, but fuck, dude. Did anyone really think when Optimus was first unveiled, the bumbling Bumblebee version 0.42690, that a couple of years later, Tesla could potentially have thousands of these things being useful? Musk also, again, emphasizing that it might sound crazy, but robotaxis could take Tesla's valuation to $5 trillion or more over the long term, and Optimus is likely to achieve a valuation several times that number. Some remarks from Tesla's CFO. This quarter saw a big bump in regulatory credits, likely because a lot of automotive manufacturers have realized they're fucked and they've decided to stop even trying with electric vehicles. Tesla now offering extremely compelling financing options worldwide, confirming that the FSD price cut saw a meaningful increase in FSD take rates. Tesla's cost per vehicle declined this quarter as well. This is when removing the impact of Cybertruck, which is obviously dragging as it ramps up. The energy business is growing at a ridiculous rate, as we know, and there's a huge backlog. Plus, Tesla now over $30 billion in cash and investments. First question from investors was an update on the Roadster. Musk confirming that most engineering is done, although there are still some upgrades to come, expecting production at the end of 2025. Although this is the cherry on top of the cherry on top of the cherry on top. Like, cool story, bro. I personally don't give a shit about the Roadster. I mean, I'd like to have one. But this is the absolute opposite of anything that's going to move the needle for Tesla. It should literally be their lowest priority, as it is. Asked when the first Robotaxi ride would be, Musk said, so basically, when will we be able to do unsupervised FSD? Elon, of course, beginning, well, I kind of have my optimism bias, and then says that he believes unsupervised FSD is possible by the end of the year, and he would be shocked if it's not by the end of next year. Goes on to say it seems extremely probable given the trajectory, the rate of improvement, blah, blah, blah. Funnily enough, his estimates line up directly with mine. Again, if you want to see those, check out my Tesla valuation model. Link in description, join Patreon at the investor level and above. You can see the different scenarios, the worst case and the best case, and in between when I think Robotaxis launch and loads more. When asked about a possible cyber SUV or cyber van, Musk says that they're not going to be doing product announcements on earnings calls. Now, some huge news with the 4680 ramp, which we already heard a quarter-over-quarter increase in production of 50%. Actually, I think it was 51. Holy fuck, dude. Also saw a big cost of goods decline. I mean, kind of makes sense, right? You make more, your costs come down. Regarding Cybertruck, Tesla are aiming for their first Cybertruck with 4680 cells to be produced in Q4, and this will bring a huge cost reduction. And importantly, these 4680 cells will be way below the cost of alternative cells produced by other companies. On Dojo, Tesla is doubling down on Dojo. They have no choice as demand for NVIDIA chips is very high, as we know. And of course, NVIDIA will need to price these at whatever the market clearing price is. And since demand's fucking insane, these things are potentially going to be extremely expensive for years to come. So, quote, we've really got to make Dojo work, and we will. Now, this is hilarious, and I guess they say great minds think alike, and maybe so do sick ones. When asked what accessories will be offered with Optimus, the very first thing we hear is laughter on the call, which is funny because I was also internally laughing for the exact same fucking reasons. I mean, totally not. I don't understand why anyone would laugh when somebody asks. I'm not even going to explain why. Anyway, Musk went on to explain that Optimus will use accessories/tools like people do, right? Somebody said, why is Tesla not advertising? And of course, Tesla is advertising, and they confirm we are advertising. But most importantly, we need compelling, affordable products. Thank you, Captain Fucking Obvious. However, Tesla did point out, and trigger alert if you're one of those Tesla needs to do more advertising people, in the United States, 2/3 of their recent sales were to new customers. So, let's think about this. If 2/3 of their sales were to new customers, does that not suggest that Tesla is in fact selling vehicles to new customers? I mean, how are these new customers hearing about Tesla? Regarding Giga Mexico, a massive update here. Potentially huge implications, by the way. Musk confirming that Tesla has paused progress on Giga Mexico until the US presidential election. Why? Because Trump implied he would impose massive tariffs on made-in-Mexico vehicles. So Tesla are holding off for clarity. Makes sense. Now, look, if I'm being honest here, I suspect that Trump gets elected, assuming no late mail arrives. Wait, what? And he'll have been on the phone before and after to Musk, and they will figure something out here. Maybe final assembly done in the US, but some stuff done in Mexico. I don't think Giga Mexico is going to become completely dead in the water. You never know, but this is a major and important update. Right now, this project completely on hold until after the US presidential election. It's a shame Trump's not super corrupt, or Tesla could just donate a couple of dollars and next minute suddenly there'd be some corrupt legislation that buys Tesla, just like the insane EV incentives. Remember the whole union-made vehicles were going to get thousands of dollars more tax credits? Remember that corruption from the Biden administration with UAW? Yeah. If only Trump was super corrupt and actually needed the money, Tesla could just effectively bribe the guy and suddenly they'd get a miraculous exemption. I won't be holding my breath on that, but it's important to understand that Musk and Trump do talk, and they have a pretty good relationship. So let's see how this shakes out. Musk went on to confirm again that the Robotaxi will be produced at Giga Texas, as will Optimus version 2, the high volume version, to sell to customers. So a pause in Giga Mexico is not a pause on any of Tesla's actual products. And bombshell alert regarding FSD licensing talks. Check this out. Quote, there are a few major OEMs that have expressed interest in licensing Tesla FSD, and I suspect there will be more over time. So words matter. And this word here, a few, strongly implies its definition. A few, more than one. In fact, likely more than two. My best guess here is 3+ major OEMs. Otherwise, you might have used the word a couple or two, maybe even some. So a few major OEMs have expressed interest here. This is a big deal. Of course, it was also inevitable. That's why it's been in my Tesla valuation model since I first published it back in 2021. Although more on this a little later. I may have to adjust some of my estimates around FSD licensing timing and how meaningful the revenue impact is. We'll see. Now, a big one, which I really hope happens, but again, hope's not a strategy. Someone asked about potentially Tesla investing in xAI and also asked about Grok integration in Tesla vehicles. Musk confirms that Tesla, the company, is in fact learning from xAI. Imagine that. You've got some of the world's best and brightest doing AI at xAI. Got some of the world's best and brightest doing AI at Tesla. Same guys leading both companies. What a surprise. Learning things about training techniques, who knows what else. Also confirming that xAI is helping improve FSD through learning. Now, this may not be directly, but let's say some of the brilliant engineers at xAI figure something out about training neural nets, training based on video, etc. Suddenly they can share that information. Next minute, helps Tesla. It may be more general than that though too. If xAI themselves are having breakthroughs in AI training, that then becomes potentially knowledge that Tesla can integrate themselves. Now, importantly, Elon said that he is in support of Tesla investing in xAI, but obviously this will need a shareholder vote, and I am all for it. On to the institutional questions, and surprise, surprise, the very first question from a zero IQ derp who read some fake news, who didn't use his brain. Remember that old fake news about Tesla didn't take delivery of these chips and they gave them to xAI because Elon bad and Elon's favouring xAI. Remember this whole thing that I debunked? I said at the time, you can't just take a delivery and open your FedEx package and suddenly press the magic start training with these chips button. Well, Elon said the exact same thing in different words. You moron, why'd you even ask this and waste everyone's time on the call, you fucking idiot? Bro, how is it that some moron, me, on YouTube, debunked this bullshit at the time and explained why it was bullshit and explained you can't just turn these fucking things on, and then this guy is wasting everyone's time on a Tesla earnings call. Oh, Tesla, I heard that you did. Fuck you. This guy should not be invited back. Musk pointed out that Tesla had no place to turn these chips on, and you can't just order GPUs and then turn them on. You need a data center. Also pointing out that Tesla is working 24/7 to complete their southern extension at Giga Texas to actually house H100s for training. When asked about energy growth, Optimus, and Tesla's different revenue segments over the long term, Musk confirms that long term, the value of Optimus will exceed everything else combined. Thank you, Captain Obvious. He also goes on to point out some more obvious things that, well, obvious unless you're an analyst. We, as in Tesla, are unique in having all the ingredients needed for high-scale, useful humanoid robots. This is why Musk agrees with ARK's $5 trillion plus Robotaxi valuation, and also goes on to say that it's obvious that Optimus will help Tesla's valuation to become several times that of Robotaxis. So again, words matter. What is several times 5 trillion? Something to ponder. Musk then goes on to say that at that point, quote, I'm not sure what money even means. We are headed for an age of abundance. It's a wild future we're headed for, and he ain't wrong. The follow-up question was regarding distributed compute. Musk points out that it's the obvious thing to do. If you've got a fleet of over 100 million vehicles with Tesla AI, which is now the name for their hardware, 4 is now AI4, AI5, AI5, AI6, etc., with maybe billions of humanoid robots, I'm just going to be clear, Musk is talking about distributed compute, references a Tesla vehicle fleet of over 100 million and a potential billion plus fleet of humanoid robots, just Tesla humanoid robots. That is just a staggering amount of inference compute that could be used for general computing. It's an obvious thing to do, obviously, because those humanoid robots and vehicles won't constantly be in use. So as opposed to them doing nothing, this will be a lot more useful, right? Right. When asked about how FSD licensing would work, obviously, any company licensing Tesla FSD will need their vehicles to be covered in cameras, 360-degree views. They'll need the connectivity as well, the inference computer. Musk points out that given the speed that the auto industry moves at, it will be several years before we would see this in volume. He also clarified, when asked if a FSD licensing agreement is signed, when would Tesla disclose this? He went on to explain that it only makes sense to have an agreement in the first place if it's for at least 1 million vehicles per year. Any less than that, there's no fucking point. Tesla's not going to bother doing these deals for a piss tiny little manufacturer. So Lucid, rip. Rivian, rip. Now, regarding disclosure, the explanation was that would depend on the OEM. Tesla would be happy to disclose this either way, e.g. at the time the agreement's signed or in the future. So this is going to come down to the OEM, not Tesla, meaning agreements may be signed in the next few days, weeks, months, or years, and we may not know. It just depends on whether the company wants to make the announcement. Now, personally, I think, given the fact that Tesla is the GOAT, it would make sense for a company who signs an agreement to actually announce this ahead of time, although there could be a bit of an Osborne effect. But the credibility that they're going to get by telling the world that they're going to be partnering with Tesla and potentially stealing a future Tesla customer back to the brand. Imagine GM, I'm not going to say it's GM because they didn't lead, they don't matter, and their CEO's a fucking moron. But imagine it was GM. You're thinking about buying a Tesla because Tesla, in fact, makes the best products. But then you hear that your favorite company, GM, Government Motors, will have their own autonomous vehicle using Tesla's technology out a few years from now. Suddenly you might decide, well, you know what? I'm going to wait for that because GM, who are the leaders in matter, that's the company for me. Regarding the Robotaxi rollout and regulation, again, the regulation question just kills me, bro. Just think about it. It's so obvious. But anyway, Musk points out that Tesla is the only company with a generalized solution versus the others, which have an extremely fragile solution. As I said, fragile, brittle, party trick, you've heard the fucking spiel, okay? Meaning that once Tesla can demonstrate their safety of this software is greater than a human, regulatory approval is easy. I mean, the regulator is morally obligated to approve when the safety is demonstrably greater than that of a human. End of story. and hilariously, somebody asked about GM cancelling an autonomous vehicle project who blamed regulation, and Musk didn't miss a fucking second either. Obviously, the real reason the GM cancelled the Origin is because GM can't make it work. He ain't wrong. Regarding Tesla's Robotaxi network, Tesla again confirming that they will make some vehicles for the fleet dedicated Robotaxi that they will operate themselves, but also that the entire existing fleet of Tesla vehicles can join the Tesla network. It's instant scale, which everyone is sleeping on. And my favourite moment of the entire call, right at the end, somebody asks if Trump cuts the IRA tax credit. Musk points out that there will be some impact for Tesla, obviously. However, it will be devastating for Tesla's so-called competition, and long-term, it would help Tesla, obviously. However, Musk then goes on to point out some obvious things that are obvious, unless you're an analyst. The long-term value of Tesla is overwhelmingly autonomy. He then goes on to explain that the other things are in the noise. That was a direct quote, noise, relative to autonomy. Musk then, in no uncertain terms, says that if you don't believe Tesla will solve autonomy, sell the fucking stock. If you believe Tesla will solve autonomy, own the stock. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. And funnily enough, after posting this overnight, happy Tesla earnings day for those who celebrate, William asks, care for a one-word prediction? To which I respond, noise. Obviously, a massive coincidence. I wasn't in fact referring to the fact that all of this short-term bullshit regarding vehicles and automotive margins and who cares relative to autonomy and then eventually the Optimus humanoid robot, it's all noise. What are the odds that we just heard Musk also describe the same shit as noise? If I didn't know any better, I might think that maybe Musk and I are looking at Tesla in a manner that possibly differs from the average Wall Street analyst. Of course, we're both going to be wrong, and you should probably pay attention to the analysts who think Tesla's just a car company and care enormously about the noise. And just to wrap this one up finally, this was a massive call. Now, I say this often, but bro, the information we got about how an FSD licensing deal would work, the fact that several companies, OEMs, have had discussions about licensing FSD. Giga Mexico on pause until the US election is done. When we would hear about an FSD deal, when the licensing actually takes place, when's it announced, Tesla potentially investing in XAI, new vehicle on track for next year, Optimus V2 on track, Tesla to have thousands of Optimus humanoid robots in their own factories next year, massive progress on the 4680, a couple of other things to be unveiled at Tesla's Robotaxi event. I mean, bro, epic call. If you ignore the noise and focus on the substance. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. And I haven't missed a daily video in more than 3 years. Must be a coincidence, right? Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. But don't take my word for it. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. By the way, viewer, that makes 2 of us. On to the next. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. This viewer's been taking AG1 for 8 months and says, what an investment. Another. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR or I can keep going. Plenty more to come. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. If you're still skeptical, hey, I don't blame you. Everyone on the planet seems to be promoting AG1 now, but guess what? They weren't nearly 3 years ago when I had this to say privately to my Patreon audience before there was a relationship, when I was asked about what I was doing for my health, energy, and so on. Just sharing my genuine, honest thoughts about a product I'd recently discovered that was at the time called Athletic Greens, now AG1. If I could only recommend one supplement to take, Athletic Greens, and I'm not getting paid to say this, Athletic Greens is a fucking game changer. I cannot believe how effective this is. No longer having a lack of energy in the afternoons. It's fucking amazing. There's only one thing to recommend, seriously. Try Athletic Greens. You won't go back. So obviously, just like Elon Musk is a liar, a fraud, a con man, a scammer, a fake engineer, and Tesla's going bankrupt, you shouldn't trust that guy from about 3 years ago who, without any financial incentive, was promoting this product to his audience on Patreon when they were asking about health and what he's doing for supplements. Because obviously, there was some other reason he recommended that, obviously. Not sure what it was, but don't trust that guy. And all the testimonials, like my mental game has improved with AG1. I feel better than ever. I'm so impressed I've bought it for both my parents. I feel more focused and have better digestion. Incredible difference. No more afternoon fatigue. It's relieved gut issues. These are all just obviously fake testimonials from fake people. Right? Wrong. Just try it. Unless you hate yourself. If you hate yourself and you don't even want to risk possibly feeling better, this is not for you. But for everyone else, what's the worst that could happen? Try it for a month. See how you feel. It's a no-brainer. Just click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR. You'll get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 plus 5 travel packs. And you'll take the colossal risk that maybe you might have a similar experience to some of the people whose testimonials we've read in this video.